There has been movements of Asian American women for as long as there have been Asian American women, but they haven't been recognized. Often they've been just relegated to sort of footnotes in history, but in fact they've been incredible movements, like every one of these women here and those who couldn't make it represent.
So how do we give ourselves a space where the very women who are part of that community are advocating for that community? And so it's us, not someone else telling us what we need for our community.
For me, economic justice is equate with self-sufficiency.
What I'd like to see different from today is a much larger group of political leaders that come from the grassroots.
It's reproductive justice. It's not just the pro-choice or pro-abortion movement. It's our lives, it's our livelihood.
Equity means being able to negotiate. When you want it 50-50, when you want it 75-25, when you want it 90-10.
I love all of these issues. But we want power behind these issues. So.
My whole family went back to Arizona, to the camp where my family was interned. And when we got there, it was about 112 degrees. It's a camp that was about 50 miles outside of Phoenix. My mother was talking about how when the train went through Yuma, Arizona, how it was so hot, even though it was at night, that they were giving out salt tablets, especially to the pregnant women, because people were passing out. My father just started walking, and he was really silent, but it's in the middle of a desert, and he started just walking and looking at everything, and my mother started crying, and it really hit me what they had gone through, as far as that they were all dropped off in the middle of nowhere. And it was at that moment, I think, what really clicked in for me, and after that, how personal it was.
I remember within the first 2 weeks of us moving there, our home was vandalized.
And the director actually said to me, "You really don't look the part." So I ended up playing the maid.
Saying, yes, I'm queer, that pushed me out there. I know in one social studies class, we were studying the Mongoloid race, and they were talking about how, they had almond-shaped eyes.
Learning about just the history of Asians in America, which I was never exposed to. Maybe the one-liner in high school history book about, ooh, the Chinese built the railroad.
And I started teaching at a prison, a low minimum security prison, Kulani prison. It's a work camp on the Big Island. And I just looked around me, and some of a couple of my, schoolmates were in there, and
it has really surprised me to think that, I would be coming here and be fighting for the same causes that I had been fighting all the way back there in an underdeveloped country like Nepal.
My teacher had asked the entire class, he picked me out and then said, well, let's take for instance Julia.
do all of you feel like Julia is different? So it was things like trying to put sun in my hair to make it lighter.
I wanted white boys to like me. You know, that was like the big thing. I was a cheerleader.
I read a lot of books, and so I did a lot of things where I didn't have to interact with a lot of people.
I was like, okay, well, if I'm invisible and then I'm very quiet, then I won't be susceptible or vulnerable.
The thought of questioning authority was just not even within the realm of my consciousness.
So, same week, I'm in a traffic jam, DC traffic jam. And this dude, an other, tries to cut in front of me. Do I let him in? No. So he turns up and he pulls up and he says, "You Chinese bitch!" First of all, I'm a Korean bitch. Second of all, why can't I be a bitch just like everybody else? How much shit can one take? Okay? Like, you guys, I'm seriously not kidding you. This really happened to me. It's because I had to get in somebody's face, and that person is never gonna say that shit again. You gotta stand up, you gotta make your mark. And okay, maybe my way of making my mark is not that healthy. It's my way though, it's my way. So you need to find your way, but we all need to make our mark, we need to stand up. And
it really bugged us that that year that the conference was going to be in Beijing. No one was talking about supporting Asian American women to go.
It was one of the largest gathering of women around the world, and we were addressing issues that affect human life every corner of the earth.
Most of the women that were there were from some country in Asia, but Asian American, nobody really understood what that meant. We were like, you know, we're like a blip.
In our work, when we're in this country, in the US, you feel so isolated and you feel like such a minority. Like you're the crazy Asian Pacific woman working on this issue, you know? And what was great about being there was, oh my gosh, there's this vast sisterhood of women who are equally crazy.
You could feel it. You could feel it. I mean, you just, as I say, unless you were there, I'm not sure that any words could truly capture, at least for me, what I was feeling.
For instance, I led a workshop on global workers in the garment workers in the global economy. A number of us led a workshop on domestic violence.
Issues such as strengthening women's participation in development projects, the role of technology and science, to issues about minority women in Iran.
Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like, oh, everything went smoothly. No, there were a lot of debates, huge debates that took place. But that was the exciting part. We could debate among ourselves, disagree among ourselves, but yet come together.